Well, what a week it has been for the markets. While on a net basis, we managed to gain about almost 3%. 60.27 is where it shut shop. But Thursday and Friday were really quite a ride for the market.
Oh yes, volatile in its own sweet way. But a lot of people would have been crying foul by virtue of how the volatility was for the Bank Nifty in particular. But for the week, yeah, I think we did pretty okay. Let's get in our experts, Sandeep Wagle as well as Ashish Chaturmota, with their sense of the charts. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining in today. Sandeep, this week was very volatile. What do you expect the first 4 days of the next week to look like?
Good evening, Neeraj. I think we had a lot of choppiness and obviously both the events going contra to each other. But when looking at the close, I would still be not that negative. I would not say that the top is made and we are on the way down to 51, 5200. No, that is not what I feel. Yes, certainly 6100, 6150 is a strong resistance area. And any which ways, I don't expect, whatever be the reason, don't expect that to be crossed with that is. Because if that happens, then we are looking at a 63, 64, which I don't think will happen in the next few weeks or so. So somewhere between 60, 50, 6100, we will meet with some resistance which can bring down the Nifty to probably 58, 50 or so. I don't expect 58 to be broken on the downside, and a 58 to 61 range which will develop over the next few days or weeks, and then let us see where we take it from there. But 58 will be a very, very strong support and 61 will be a strong resistance, and stock specific move within that range.
Ashish, hi, evening. How are you approaching the market given the kind of volatility that we've seen just in Thursday, Friday alone?
See, I think volatility will continue to be the part of the market because we have crossed this 5900 mark, and if you look at in the last couple of trading sessions, there was a very strong build-up of activity both on the long and the short side. So still there is no clear-cut covering of the positions either on the long or on the short side because of the kind of volatility which we are seeing. But what we are observing is basically that around 5900, 5950 there exists a very, very strong support, and today also market filled the gap which was created yesterday and again saw good recovery from those levels. So I think if on Monday we don't see Nifty going below 5950 or 5960 levels, then there is a very strong possibility that we may cross this 6130, 6140 levels. And on upside we are looking for a target around 6200 levels in next couple of trading sessions. So the overall bet is on 5950 mark. If that level doesn't get broken on downside, then we are expecting a target of 6200 levels in next 3 or 4 trading sessions.
Sandeep, it is the Bank Nifty which really bore the brunt of both the Fed meets, that's the US as well as ours. How would you approach it now?
Well, Aisha, absolutely. At a higher level of 11,200, 250, a lot of selling has been witnessed, and that is a very strong resistance area. And though it has clawed back from the intraday lows, I still think Bank Nifty is definitely not in a position to clear that. So any move towards that 10,850, 10,900, I don't think it will clear that as well. So nearer that, I would be a seller with probably a 200, 250 point stop loss. And on the downside, I would look at a 10,100, 10,150, 400-500 points downside from the current level. So if you sell it at 150, 200 points higher, you can play for a 700, 800 points range.
Now the large caps, a lot of large caps were dominating trade and action. Let's talk about some gainers. It's been a good week. So let's talk about some gainers. Ashish, come to you. The IT pack was extremely active and HCL Tech topped the list out there by virtue of the announcement that happened on Thursday. So in Friday's session, a 4% gain, ending the week well. Do you trade this one?
Yeah, Neeraj, if you look at the structure, it is quite a positive structure after, consolidating in a range between 1060 to 1000 levels. The stock has given a good breakout above this 1060 mark. I think next week we will see the stock crossing its all-time high and maybe testing somewhere around 1130, 1140 kind of levels. So I think the structure is quite strong and one can initiate a long position keeping 1040 as a stop loss for a target of 1140, 1130 kind of levels. Even if you look at other, IT counters, they are quite in a sideways trend, but if you look at HCL Tech and even Tech Mahindra is one counter which I think can surprisingly do good. The stock has corrected today a little bit, but I think at around 1280, 1275 there exists a very, very strong support. There is a possibility that this stock also can test somewhere around 1400 to 1420 in next 4 to 5 trading sessions.
Sandeep, we've talked about how you'd look to approach the bank nifty, but what about some of the individual names? Because again, it's been choppy one. For instance, the Yes Bank, which has had a good day, and then again today it collapsed in trade, as was the case with some of the frontline names as well.
Well, certainly I think the banking space is a little divergent. I would say I'm seeing a lot of divergence. I'm not seeing an equal strength in many of them. Yes Bank did correct, but the pattern of Yes Bank is not that negative. A Yes Bank or an Axis Bank can see some more upside before they correct. In that sense, I'm not very clear. You cannot go and short any bank and every bank. You have to be very selective. But more weakness than strength at higher levels is what I would summarize as far as the banking space is concerned.
Ranbaxy clearly was the biggest disappointment this week. Ashish, would you look to further short Ranbaxy?
See, the structure is, very volatile, and it is really difficult to trade on this kind of structure. So there may be a possibility that we may go right on the call, but maybe all stop loss may get hit. So that's the reason I will not like to trade on Ranbaxy. As far as view is concerned, definitely the structure is weak, and I think there is a possibility that this stock may even correct below 280 levels.
Sandeep, a word on the gold loan finance companies, Manappuram, Muthoot. They're difficult to trade them, but how much more downside, if at all, do you see for them?
Well, very honestly, Neeraj, the patterns are not clear. I mean, they move wildly. I would rather not take a call on them.
Okay. The other set of mid-cap names, a couple of names that were pointed out. And Ashish, while you spoke about Tech Mahindra, what about pure play mid-cap IT like Polaris or a Mindtree? Have you looked at the charts there?
Yeah, as far as Mindtree is concerned, we have a very positive view on the stock. Now, if you look at the structure, this is one stock where there is a very huge consolidation going on continuously. Every time the stock moves up 15-20%, we see the stock gets into a consolidation phase, and that's a very good quality which a uptrending stock should have, and that is one thing which we are witnessing in Mindtree. So that's the reason we expect that another 20-25% upside is also possible in next 3 to 4 months in Mindtree.
Okay, let's tell you then, what about the trades that you can execute come Monday morning? Sandeep, you go first on your trading calls.
Aisha, I would go with a buy in a Colgate Palmolive, a stop loss of 1275, target of 1380. The next call is a buy in IGL, stop loss of 282, target of 305.
What about you, Ashish? What is it that you're recommending in trade?
My pick is also on the coal pile. Now, if you look at the structure, suddenly the stock, after seeing a good correction, has started some kind of bottoming out. We have seen almost a triple bottom being formed at lower levels. Today, if you look at the volumes, it has been above 3 lakh shares in the futures segment, where it normally used to be in a range of 80 to 90,000 shares. So definitely a lot of long accumulation has happened in the stock. We are looking for a target of 1360 to 1370 in a very short span of time. One can initiate a long position keeping 1265, 1275 is a stop loss. The other counter which is on the long side is M&M. Now, if you look at the overall auto space is looking very strong. Let it be Tata Motors, M&M, Maruti, or Tata Motors DVR. These are the stocks where we are witnessing a very strong build-up of positions in terms of derivatives data, and in terms of technical patterns as well. We are witnessing a very strong, volume buying based interest in these stocks. So basically, M&M is one counter where we are expecting that this stock can target somewhere around 50 to 60 rupees from current levels. We are recommending a stop loss below 959 for a target of 1000 to 1020 levels on upside.